Happy Monday, everyone, and thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats. As always, I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, we got a lot to get to this show. We are going to talk, and we're going to talk a lot more about Arizona football on Tuesday. Don't worry. But we've got to talk a lot of Arizona basketball on this show on the men's and women's side because we have some really good news and we have some in-depth breakdowns to get to as well. So let's get started here on Locked On Wildcats.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats. And I am your host, Mike Luke. And as always, hope you guys are all having a great day out there. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit of Arizona basketball because, again, as we talk about, Arizona basketball is what drives Tucson. And you know what? That's kind of where we're at right now. So let's talk about it. Okay, now the first thing I want to talk about is the game against, obviously, Southern. Okay. Now, a lot of people are freaking out about it, mainly because Arizona got outscored in the second half. You obviously don't want that to occur, but I am going to say that there's a couple things that fans do need to keep in mind here. And the first thing that I would recommend keeping in mind is that Arizona was up huge early on. Now, again, that's not that's not an excuse there, but it is. It's a fact of life, though, that when you get up really big, a lot of times you're going to have a team that's maybe going to take the foot off the gas there a little bit. I mean, you are dealing again with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids here. So that's always something to keep in mind. But there are some good things. We're obviously going to get to some of the bad things as well. But first, let's talk about some of the good things. And that is that Arizona up front is big. And, we've talked about this a great deal, but it's something that isn't going away. It's something that is, to put it mildly, pretty entrenched here. You've got with Umar Ballo, with Azuolas Tubelis, you've got two guys who should be amongst the best big men in the conference this year. Now, with Umar, it's fair to ask, how is he going to be against better teams? How's he going to be against more physical or, quicker, more physical teams? That one we'll find out. I don't know exactly how he's going to be, but what you got to really like about him, though, is that he tries to dunk everything. I'm a big fan of that, and he plays very hard. That's all really good stuff right there. Big fan of what you can see right there from him, and just the way that he's been able to improve over the years has been absolutely fantastic. And then with the Azuolas Tubelis, I feel comfortable in saying that Azuolas doesn't have a right hand still, but what I do like about Azuolas, though, is that he does have he's making his moves quicker, which is obviously something you love to see. And he just looks more comfortable out there. He's not talking, some of the mess that he was talking before that I think kind of got him out of his realm there a little bit. He's playing better basketball. Now, what will this mean? When Arizona starts playing really good teams, I don't know that. And I think we're going to have to find that one out, but so far so good though. And that's all that we can really go off right now is so far so good. Now, looking at the rest of looking at those two, both looked really good. Then Pelle Larsson, again, it wouldn't shock me a ton if Pelle Larsson is the best player on this team. I admittedly did not see this occurring. I thought that he was going to be a solid player. I did not see Pelle being a next level type guy that seemingly is going to get you 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists game in and game out. That's where I was a little bit surprised, to put it mildly. Now, there are some other things too with this squad that are impressive. But Pelle Larsson, the jump that he's made and the internal improvements that this squad has made are absolutely fantastic. Now, obviously, there's some other things in play as well, but those are three guys right up there that are going to be really good for Arizona I think, quite frankly, for the foreseeable future. Then now we got to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Mr. Kerr Kriisa. All right, Kerr. Kerr gets a lot of flack, and quite frankly, brings a lot of it on himself. I don't think that he's probably that upset with getting some of the flack. You watch how he plays, you watch his demeanor, you watch everything about him, and you can tell that he's okay living that. He came up with a triple double. He now has two triple doubles. He has now two triple doubles in school history, which is amazing to think about because when you get guys like that, you generally don't have that. You don't have guys who are, who are players that are totally comfortable being who they are at any moment. And that, I think, is what's unique about Kerr Kriisa for sure, is that he is who he is. And what will this mean for him going forward? I don't know, but you got to be pretty excited, though, by what you've seen right now from Kerr. At least I am, because Arizona right now needs to be able to needs to have solid point guard play. Now, again, it's early on in the season. We all know that. But right now, Kerr Kriisa is definitely pushing the mark in a good way for Arizona basketball. And I think that's pretty much all that you can really ask for at this point, is for him to continue to do what he's doing right now. Now, looking at the rest here, you've obviously Cedric Henderson should be back here Courtney Ramey should be back here shortly. He will most likely go into the starting lineup. And again, that's not a bad thing. He's kind of a bulldog out there. He's kind of a, for lack of a better term, he's a guy that is kind of missing on the Arizona roster, and that he's physical, he can guard, and he can just do a lot of different things out there. He's kind of your jack of all trades. We talked about it somewhere else, but if he is your, if he's your second or if he could be a poor man's Reggie Geary, that certainly isn't a bad thing. And I think that's something that we should all embrace. And I think he lines up very well next to Kerr Kriisa, because the things that Kerr Kriisa struggles with, defense, maybe, handling the ball against really good teams, that's something that Courtney Ramey, I think, can excel at as well. So again, that's obviously a good thing in there. Now, where does that mean with Cedric Henderson? I think Cedric goes probably back to the bench, but I like Cedric Henderson. I'm telling you all out there, everybody needs to back Cedric Henderson, because he's about 6'6", 215, 220 pounds, and he's going to continue to get about 18 to 20 minutes per game, mainly because the skill set that he has is totally unique for what Arizona is trying to do. Again, don't think that he's not going to be an all-timer or anything like that, but he's going to get 18, 19, 20 minutes per game, something in that realm. And quite frankly, he should get something around in that realm as well. Now, Henry Vasar obviously kind of has that look where, a little bit of the praying mantis type look to him, very long. It's going to take him a little bit of time, but you know what? That's also not the worst thing in the world. He'll be back for a sophomore year, and I think by the time he's a sophomore, he's going to be a massive problem for opponents right there, because, you watch him, and the one thing that's very enticing about him is how he moves and about how long he is. You really can't teach that. I know that that's kind of an overused term, but you can't really teach what he has in that regard. So again, that's a very good thing. When it comes to Dylan Anderson, obviously, I think he's going to take a little bit of time, no doubt about it. But, I think when he does hit, he's going to be there, and he's going to be very good for what Arizona needs to do. It's just going to take him a little bit of time. Now, couple things. All right, let's get to LinkedIn. All right. This is brought to you by LinkedIn, America's #1 place to get applicants, to find jobs. You name it, LinkedIn's got it. You can go to linkedin.com and put /locked on college, drop it in there, let them know where you heard it. But LinkedIn absolutely is, everybody knows somebody that got a job through LinkedIn. It's really that simple. And I think that's what's exciting about LinkedIn, is that it works. We're not peddling anything here that doesn't work. A lot of times you get people that are like, all right, this is a fly by night or whatever. This is different. LinkedIn works again, and its reputation speaks for itself as well. So check it out. LinkedIn /locked on college. And again, give it a little bit of a spot right here. Now, now this is recruiting segment right here. The fun thing about it, the fun thing about this is that with Tommy Lloyd, his recruiting is a little bit different, and we talked about that. He's going to take a little bit of time. He's missed on some kids, but as we've talked about, roster continuity is very, very big for him. He's not going to just offer a kid just to offer a kid. He's going to take time. And you know what? That might mean that he's going to miss. That might mean that he's going to miss on some guys. But you know what? He also, I think, is more than okay with missing on those players, because if they didn't want to come here, then they're probably not a great fit for him. And so you lose out on Cody Williams, obviously a loss, but he'll get it back right there. You've offered a few other kids. KJ Lewis just signed. We'll be talking more about KJ Lewis as well. But recruiting under Tommy Lloyd, while again, it's not ideal losing out on a guy like that, you still are okay with where the direction of the program is. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with you. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now let's talk a little bit about Arizona women's basketball, because they looked absolutely fantastic in their opener, and I think you're going to continue to see really good stuff from them. What is really impressive, and Adia Barnes talked about this from day one, is that she thinks that this team has the potential to be her best team. And honestly, I think that that makes a lot of sense, quite frankly. It makes a lot of sense, because she is she's not going to be the person that's just going to make stuff up. She's going to put it out there, and she's going to be, and you look at the position flexibility that she has. You look at the position flexibility that this squad has, especially with an Esmery Martinez. And I think the sky's really the limit for this unit. I really do. And I think we'll continue to find that out. But right now, you got to be pretty excited with where things are at the moment. But I'm also excited, though, where everything is right now with this Arizona team. She also has a very dynamic, when you just look up and down that roster, though, she's got between a Kate Reese, between a Kate Reese, a Maya Nagy, an Esmery Martinez, a Lauren Fields, a Jade Lavelle. This squad is loaded. This squad is absolutely loaded, and it's loaded with everything that you need. You've got scoring. You've got scoring. You've got length. You've got defense. Everything you need. It's just going to be about how can they mesh together, and I think they're going to mesh together just fine. Again, it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're also kind of, with Adia Barnes, you're going to take what she has, because she has shown already that she is the GOAT. Okay, now let's talk. Now, here's the deal with BetOnline. Check out BetOnline Sportsbook. A lot of people out there wondering, what exact. They're like, well, I'd like to bet, but this all seems kind of confusing to me. I'm not really a huge fan of all of this. BetOnline Sportsbook is where it's at. You can get live bets. You can get anything you want. They have it right there at the BetOnline Sportsbook, from props to in-game betting to over or unders. You name it, they got it. I obviously big fan of BetOnline Sportsbook. I took the over, as you all know, with Arizona football this season, and so far, and it hit, and I got paid. So again, check it out. The BetOnline Sportsbook. It's sorry, just putting that up right now. Sorry, the last couple of days had some technical issues, but again, check it out. BetOnline Sportsbook. We'll be right back with you. Thanks for keeping it locked on, Wildcats. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, BetOnline. Obviously, we're just telling you about the BetOnline Sportsbook. Now, let's look ahead a little bit. Going to have some Arizona football coming up here shortly. Very good stuff. You've got some winnable games coming up. We're also going to look back at what the team did as well. But right now, I just want to put everything in perspective for Arizona fans as to where Arizona was a couple years ago and where Arizona is now. Arizona a few years ago was kind of in the dumpster, to be honest with you. Basketball hadn't won a tournament game in 5 years. Things didn't look to be getting better under Sean Miller, and Arizona football had Kevin Sumlin. Those all kind of go without saying. So everything is much better now, and we're going to continue to get better. We're going to talk about that even more. Again, going to get my computer fixed today, having a slight couple issues, but we will be back with you tomorrow. You've been listening